It's very यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे किमु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमं विधा Amalan Pratipadyate, what Krishna is telling. When one dies in the mode of goodness, attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. So now what Krishna is explaining in 14th and 15th verse, the death in three modes. If one person who is practicing the mode of goodness, and if he dies, then where he will go? He will go to the higher planets, the great sages. So here Krishna has mentioned he will go to the higher planets. So how the person will go to many planets? We may have question how the person is going to many planets. So there are 14 planets we know, and we are in the middle and Bholoka. Bholoka we are. Above many planets like Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, Maharloka. These are higher planets. So how the person who has practiced we can here understand that the person who is practicing goodness, it is not like very rigid. Like goodness means they don't come in the same category. There is a spectrum. Like different person has practiced goodness to different degree. And according to that, whatever degree they have practiced, according to that loka they will go. And Swargaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Satyaloka. So highest is Brahma's lok, Satyalok. And Satyalok is the highest. From Swarga to Satyalok, that person will go. The living entity who has practiced goodness in 100%, then he will go to Satyaloka. Like this. Will happen. This is the translation. Somebody can read the purport.
One in the goodness attain higher planetary system like Brahmaloka or Janloka, and there enjoys goodly happiness. The word Amalan is significant. It is mean free from modes of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in material world, but the modes of goodness is the purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kind of planet for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the modes of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live.
So we can see here what Krishna is, sorry, what Prabhupada is telling. One in goodness attains higher planetary systems like Brahmaloka or Janaloka, and there enjoys godly happiness. So this I have explained why multiple planets are mentioned. The word Amalan is significant. It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. In the verse we see, Amalan Pratipadyate. In word to word, he has translated pure. But actually, it is free from the passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, form of existence. in the material. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. But why he is going to upper planet? Because that is meant for the living entities with mode of goodness. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live. See, Krishna has mentioned here they will go to higher planetary systems. Means where they are living still in material world. They are not liberated. Yesterday we saw. So if they want liberation, they are not liberated. And they will come again and again. And studies, Prabhupada has mentioned that scientists, philosophers, and they are attached to work in the mode of goodness. And they will again come to this material world. So this is about goodness. And in next verse, Krishna will speak about mode of passion and ignorance in one verse. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sanghishu jayate तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढ़ो योनिषु जायते रजसी pralayam gatva. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And one when dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. What Krishna has told here, that somebody is dying in the mode of passion. Where he is going, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And who practices fruitive activities? Human being. Then the person who is dying in the mode of passion, where he is taking birth, same, and is Bhuloka only. Here only he is taking birth. And those who are in tamoguna or in mode of ignorance, where they are taking birth, the birth with planets of animal. Like there are many lokas below Bhuloka. Where only animals live in that. There also different levels are there. Highest it is not mentioned here. Acharyas also have not mentioned that the names of these, but they will take just animal birth, lowly birth, like it. Is purport somebody can do.
Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of a human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life. From there, one has to again elevate himself by an evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association, transcend the modes and become situated in the Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status.
Thank you, Paul. So, Krishna is mentioned in me that passion and ignorance that we understood. And Prabhupada is telling here that some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. Particularly, many Christian people, they have this misconception. Actually, purposefully, they have created this impression to rule nicely. And so, Christian people, particularly, they have this misconception. So, those who have read the Christian philosophy, they will understand this. But this is incorrect. This is not correct. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance, after his death, he is degraded to the animal form life. One is going down if ignorance is there. When goodness is there, then one will go up. Or from there, one has to again elevate himself by an evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Then again, he has to come to human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human form of life should take to the mode of goodness and, in good association, transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. Then we can understand here the value of human form of life, how it is rare. So much time goes for taking birth in human form of life. So Prabhupada is telling that use this human form of life in cultivating goodness and in good devotee association, better we can practice devotional service, Krishna consciousness, and transcend all these modes. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that human being will again attain to the human status. Regarding mode of passion, Prabhupada has not mentioned. But what Krishna has mentioned is that these passionate people, what they will do fruitive activities after dying. So we can understand that they will come again to Bholoka because human being will only do the fruitive activities. Correct? In these two verses, Krishna has mentioned the how what happens when these persons they die, what happens with them. Then in verse 16, 17, and 18, Krishna explained that what are the results, and we know that they do different activities. Like person in more of goodness, they do different activities. They do intellectual work, yesterday we saw, and those in the passion, and they do big projects, and then those in the goodness, yesterday we saw they sleep more. So these are some prominent activities. Like these three people in three different modes, they have different activities that we saw. Then they are doing different activities. Then they have different result also based on that activity. Different results. So what are different results that Krishna is mentioning in this verse 16 to 18? So first he mentions the results of Sattva Guna. So what are the what he is mentioning? Karmana sukrutasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasah phalam. The result of pious action is pure, and it is to be said in the mode of goodness. Is the result of pious action is pure, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery. They will be miserable and they will have a lot of sorrow in their life. Action performed in the mode of goodness results in foolishness because their knowledge is covered. Knowledge is covered, then what person will act foolishly? We saw that. That's why the result is foolishness. So how? So based on this, so these three different kinds of people, they are getting these three different results. The result of pious activities in the mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in happiness. So they are getting happiness. How sages are happy? Because they are getting, because of their purity. There is purity they are getting. And illusion is not there, moha is not there. That's why they are getting happiness. They are satisfied actually. And because of that satisfaction, they are happy. Somebody can read the page one.
But activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to be undergone because before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth, and those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, Bhagavad Gita says that in an activity performed under a spell of the mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be a little so called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present misery. And afterwards, he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable, although under the spell of illusionary energy, Maya. The animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the further, the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is a law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That is the law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant's being killed. One has to pay for it. So, indulgence in animal killing for the taste of the tongue is a grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice food. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. Of all kinds of animal killing, the killing of cow is most vicious because the cow gives us all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is an act of the grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 9.46.4, the words Gobhi Priniti Matsaram indicates that one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literature that states, Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagannath Krishnaya Govindaya Namo. My Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cow and the Brahmanas, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society and world. Vishnu Purana 1.19.65. The special purport is that special mention is given in the prayer for the protection of the cows and the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education, and cows are the symbol of most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is real advancement of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in the wrong direction and is clearing the path to its own condemnation. A civilization which guides the citizen to become animals in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the mode of passion and ignorance.
Regarding goodness, Prabhupada has mentioned before only. Then in passion, Krishna has mentioned they will be miserable. Then any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. Why they are miserable? Prabhupada is explaining. Because whatever we do materially, defeat is guaranteed. For example, one wants to have, Prabhupada is now proving by giving examples, skyscraper. Much human society has to undergo before a big skyscraper. Building a big skyscraper. What he has to undergo big endeavor to earn money and a mass of wealth before. Then those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. Then workers have to act very physically. Yesterday also this example Prabhupada has given. The miseries are there. So Prabhupada is mentioning less passionate people, they have to, they will achieve the result as a misery. And Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of more of passion, there is definitely great misery. Krishna has mentioned. There may be a little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. Along with misery, they will have little happiness. But what type of happiness? Material happiness. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them to continue. So because this happiness is material, so they will be miserable only at the end. In long run, they will be miserable. And now, then the mode of ignorance properly mentioned. Then what is happening in mode of ignorance is we know the result. They will take birth in animal kingdom, Krishna has mentioned. Then Prabhupada is explaining that performer is without knowledge, and that we know from the characteristics of the mode of ignorance that their knowledge is covered. Therefore, his activities results in the person doesn't have any knowledge. Then what he will do? He will perform miserable activities. And afterwards, what he will achieve is birth in an animal life. Because animal life, they have more miseries. They don't understand. Slaughtering poor animal. And what activities they are doing, the person in the mode of ignorance, they kill the animal in human form. They do not know they will achieve the next life in the animal. And So how it is happening, who is controlling, the laws of nature are controlling. And they are giving them the next birth in animal kingdom. In human society, if when Prabhupada is telling that how it is not a big prize birth in an animal kingdom. And in human society also, somebody kills another human. Will be also hanged. That is the law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state law controlled by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, Lord also has his law called as laws of nature. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he doesn't tolerate an ants being killed. And one has to pray for it. So indulgence in an animal killing for the taste of tongue is grossest kind of ignorance. So this is the more severe ignorance, grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance. Why that person is in ignorance? Prabhupada is explaining this sentence. Why he is ignorance? Because unnecessarily, and although there is no need, he is killing just for taste and unnecessary, making his future very dark. So among all types of animal killing, cow killing is again more severe, Prabhupada is telling. Because cow gives milk and being fully satisfied by the milk, cows give milk which completely satisfies the human and is desirous of killing the cow is the grossest ignorance. And Krishna also has mentioned that devotees they are mentioning Krishna is the well-wisher of cows and brahmanas. And Krishna is the well-wisher of the entire human society. From Vishnu Puran. So, how we can understand this verse? That the devotees who are praying and in this verse, why they are praying like this? Because the prayers, they are praying for the protection of cows and brahmanas. And what is the activity of brahmanas? Is the spiritual education, adhyatma vidya. And cows are the symbol of the most valuable food. These two living creatures, the cows and brahmanas, must be given all protection. That is the real advancement. So civilization, real civilization, they are protected. But in modern civilization, they are not protected. Cow killing is encouraged. Civilization which guides the citizens to become animal in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. So this modern civilization is degrading humans and civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. In short, what Prabhupada has mentioned is that killing of animals and is the grossest type of ignorance, and among that, cow killing is another. Severity is more in that ignorance. And they will achieve their next birth in animal kingdom. So there is one statement here I'm highlighting that cow slaughter is an act of the grossest type of ignorance. And in Vedic literature, the words Govihi Prinita Matsaram indicate that one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow, is in grossest ignorance. So this sentence, Acharyas, they have mentioned in a little different way. That, like Krishna has mentioned here in the verse, the word Rajas and Tamas. The word Rajas and Tamas. Ajnanam tamasah phalam. Rajasas to phalam dukkham. So what is the result of Rajoguna is dukkham. And Ajnanam tamasah phalam. What is the result of person in the tamas is ignorance, ajnanam, foolishness. Then Acharyas, they are mentioning that the Rajas and Tamas in the verse and the activities in Rajas and Tamas. So Rajas and Tamas in the word, these words means what is the meaning is that the person in the Rajas and means the person in the Rajas and Tamas means the activities they are performing in Tamas. Tamaha means activities in tamas. They will lead to ajnanam. And activities in rajas. What will be the result? Result will be dukkham. So similarly, so this way we are taking, although there is mentioned is tamas. So what meaning we are taking? Activities in tamas are leading to ignorance. And like that we are taking the meaning. And similarly, the statement is there, na Govihi Pranita Matsara. From Ruvp, there is one statement. What is that? Govihi Pranita Matsara. So what is the meaning of this statement? They are mentioning what is the actual meaning of this statement? Govihi Pranita Matsara. And means they are telling that pleased with the cow. Actual meaning is what? Pleased with the cow. This is the actual meaning. But what meaning we should take? Then they are telling pleased with the cow means pleased with the cow's milk. Yeah. Like this we can consider. Like although Krishna has not mentioned activities, and we have taken the word activity there in the verse. Similarly, Govihi Prinita Matsaram. Here we can add the milk. Like there we have added the activities. That's why the indicate that one who is being fully satisfied by milk, like this Prabhupada is written. Although in the verse it is not there, milk word is not there. In Govihi means cow, go. Cow is mentioned, but not cow milk. So this is the reason Acharyas they have given. And why, although there is not a word milk, but still we have to add the word milk. Clear? Then what is the conclusion Prabhupada is deriving? It is very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the greatest danger. That's why this human form of life is very rare. So there is need that all nations should come together and they should make some plan so that people can practice Krishna consciousness and they can save the human society. So in verse 16, now we saw that Krishna has mentioned some results, and now results of activities in 3 modes. Activities in 3 modes. Verse 17 also, he is mentioning the results. First, we will see what is the result he is mentioning in verse 17 and what is the difference between the two. That also we will see. What result he is mentioning. So, result of mode of goodness is real knowledge. Person is achieving the result, real knowledge. From the mode of passion, and what is developing? Greed is developing. The result is greed. From the mode of ignorance, here is same. Madness and illusion. And some additions there. Madness and illusion. These are coming from dreams. How Prabhupada is explaining. Somebody can read it alone.
Since the present civilization is not very congenial to the living entities, Krishna consciousness is recommended. Through Krishna consciousness, society will develop the mode of goodness. When the mode of goodness is developed, people will see things as they are.
So what is mentioned by Prabhupada here is regarding goodness. What is Krishna has mentioned, real knowledge will develop. And Prabhupada is similarly mentioned that through mode of goodness, people will see things as they are. Knowledge. That's why they will see things as they are. So, since the present civilization is not very congenial to living entities, that's why if they practice Krishna consciousness, why? Krishna consciousness is not depending on the situation. In any situation, any place, and anybody can practice Krishna consciousness. That's why by practice of Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga, he will actually transcend the modes. By transcending the modes also, he will see things as they are. He will go above modes. But Krishna consciousness can act as a means also. That point is Prabhupada mentioned. Through mode of goodness. So all these things making settings like mode of goodness requires whole complete setup of goodness. So no need to go in that whole lengthy process and a village environment and a Vedic setting and all. So to avoid that, doing that is very difficult. But Prabhupada shortcut is what? Just practice Krishna consciousness. That is the purpose. So here we have to understand the intent of Prabhupada. If we go by the word, then technically it is wrong only. But Krishna consciousness, what is happening? Goodness is developing. So that is actually because Krishna consciousness is above the goodness, above the 3 modes that we saw yesterday. But here we have to take the intent of Prabhupada word. If we go by the word-to-word meaning, we will be incorrect. Actually. This is important. Then somebody can read the ignorance part.
In the mode of ignorance, people are just like animals and cannot see things clearly. In the mode of ignorance, for example, they do not see that by killing one animal, They are taking the chance of being killed by the same animal in the next life. Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible.
So regarding the person in the mode of ignorance, people are just like animals because their knowledge is covered, cannot see things clearly. And last verse he has mentioned that they kill the animal. And what is happening? Then they are taking birth in the animal kingdom and in next life, and they will again be killed by the same animal which they have killed previously. Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible. So they don't have knowledge. That's why they are acting in the mode of ignorance. Next. 11.
To stop this irresponsibility, education for developing the mode of goodness of the people in general must be there. When they are actually educated in the mode of goodness, they will become sober in full knowledge of things as they are. Then people will be happy and prosperous. Even if the majority of the people are not happy and prosperous, if a certain percentage of the population develops Krishna consciousness and becomes situated in the mode of goodness, then there is the possibility for peace and prosperity all over the world. Otherwise, if the world is devoted to the mode of passion and ignorance, there can be no peace or prosperity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, what Prabhupada is mentioning, this irresponsible behavior, irresponsibility, how we can stop by developing mode of goodness. And for that, knowledge is required, education is required. To whom will give education? To the people in the mode of passion and ignorance. People will be happy and prosperous after if they receive the knowledge. Even if the majority of people are not happy, and even if all the people they have not accepted the knowledge, and if some people also certain percentage of the population they become Krishna conscious and situated in the mode of goodness, then there is the possibility of peace and prosperity all over the world. Otherwise, if the world is devoted to the mode of passion and ignorance, there can be no peace or prosperity. If all people are in the mode of passion and ignorance, then there will be completely chaos in society. You can read in one.
In the mode of passion, people become greedy and their hankering for sense enjoyment has no limit. One can see that even if one has enough money and adequate arrangements for sense gratification, there is neither happiness nor peace of mind. That is not possible because one is situated in the mode of passion. If one wants happiness at all, his money will not help him. He has to elevate himself to the mode of goodness by practicing Krishna consciousness. When one is engaged in the mode of passion, not only is he mentally unhappy, but his profession and occupation are also very troublesome. He has to devise so many plans and schemes to acquire enough money to maintain his status quo. This is all miserable.
Thank you, too. So, regarding this person in the mode of passion, so what Krishna has mentioned is he will develop greed, and a result of his activities, greed. So you can see that even if one has enough money, and and adequate arrangements for sense gratification. His all needs are fulfilled, adequate arrangements are there. And still, there is neither happiness nor peace of mind. He is not satisfied because of greed only. Greed is there, that's why peace of mind is not there. That is not possible because one is situated in the mode of passion. Satisfaction is not possible because his activities are in the mode of passion. If one wants happiness at all, his money will not help him, but he will not understand. When he will understand, when he elevates himself to the mode of goodness by practicing Krishna consciousness. That we understood that to avoid lot of trouble, Prabhupada is giving here shortcut and by practice of Krishna consciousness. When one is engaged in the mode of passion, not only is the mentally unhappy, but his profession and occupation are also very troublesome. And why they are troublesome? Because of greed, he is not able to stop only. And he wants to expand. And that's why lot of trouble is there. And he has to devise so many plans and schemes to acquire enough money to maintain his status. And for status, ego, and yesterday we saw just for ego and name fame, he works. This is all miserable. All these things are miserable. In the mode of ignorance, people become mad, that we saw. Being distressed by their circumstances, they take shelter of intoxication, and thus they sink further into ignorance. This is another activity they do. And one is the animal killing, and another is intoxication for the person in the mode of ignorance. And they sink further. Then where they will go? They will again go down. Their future in life is very dark. So this is about the results. And here also, Krishna has mentioned results and 17th chapter also. Sorry, 16, verse number 16 also, Krishna has mentioned some results. And in 17th, verse number 17 also, he has mentioned the results. Yeah. What is the difference between the two results? Now that is remaining. And 16 also there are results. So what are the results in 17? From the mode of goodness, knowledge is coming and they are seeing things as they are. And from the mode of passion, greed is developing. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, illusion is developing. So what is happening? They are verse number 17 results. They are called as immediate results. Immediate results of these activities of mode of activities in different modes. And these are immediate results. Immediately they will achieve the results which are mentioned in verse number 17. And whatever is mentioned in verse number 16, they are called intermediate results. Verse number 16 is giving intermediate. And finally, what results they will get, and that is mentioned in verse number 18. And finally, what they will achieve by their activities. Final results of what? Activities in 3 modes. We'll take 10 minutes break and then we'll see Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have seen till verse number 17. And just we discuss that final results of their activities in mentioning verse number 18. And this much only we have seen. Then we'll recite the verse number 18. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा शरण्या निवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा. What is the meaning is, those situated in the mode of goodness, urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, gradually go upward to higher planets. This will be the final result. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planet. That we saw. And Krishna has mentioned the death also in three modes. And in verse number 14 and 15. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish planets. This is the final. So in this verse, the results of action in the three modes of nature are more explicitly set forth. Is there the results in the final stage? Somebody can read the green one.
There is an upper planetary system consisting of the heavenly planets, where everyone is highly elevated. According to the degree of development of mode of goodness, the living entities can be transferred to various planets in this system. The highest planet is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, where the prime person of this universe, Lord Brahma, resides. We have seen already that we can hardly calculate the wondrous condition of life in Brahmaloka, but the highest condition of life, the mode of goodness, can bring us to this.
Thank you, Prabhu. So what Prabhupada is mentioning, Krishna has mentioned, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. Those who are in the goodness, they will go to the upper planetary system, Urdhva. Everyone is highly elevated. We saw that sages and they live, it is mentioned previously in 14th verse. And according to the degree of development of the mode of goodness, that also I mentioned that there is a spectrum degree. If one has developed 100% goodness, then where he will go? He will go to Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. Is residing. And Prabhupada is mentioning that in 8th chapter, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, that life of Brahma is mentioned. And person who is practicing goodness can go maximum up to Brahma Loka. Passion, somebody can be.
The mode of passion is mixed. It is in the middle. Between the mode of goodness and ignorance, a person is not always pure. But even if he should be purely in mode of passion, he will simply remain on this earth as a king or a richer man. But because there are mixtures, one can also go down. People do on this earth in the mode of passion or ignorance cannot forcibly approach the higher planets by machine. In the modes of passion, there is also the chance of becoming mad in the next life.
So, what is the result of the activities of person in the mode of passion? So it is mixed, Prabhupada is mentioned in great detail. Krishna had just mentioned that they will live on this Madhya Tishtanti Rajasa. They will live just on this earthly planet. But Prabhupada is adding and he is telling if he is pure in the mode of passion, then he will be on the earth. But because there are mixtures, he is not purely passionate. There is mixture. So he may go down also below the earthly planet also. In the mode of passion, there is also chance of becoming mad in the experiment. Foolish. Mad means foolish. And who is foolish? Person in the mode of ignorance. Because he is acting foolishly or ignorantly. And raping one.
The lowest quality, the mode of ignorance, is described here as abominable. The result of developing ignorance is very, very risky. It is the lowest quality in material nature. Beneath the human level, there are 8 million species of life, birds, beasts, reptiles, trees, etc. And according to the development of the mode of ignorance, people are brought down to these abominable conditions. The word tamasa is very significant here. Tamasa indicates that who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to a higher mode. Their future is very dark.
Thank you. So, what Prabhupada is mentioning, it is very risky. The reason Prabhupada already has mentioned. And because what happens, they will take birth in animal life. They will go down. And then again they have to wait to get the human form for doing any karma. So that's why it is very risky. Before Prabhupada has clarified in previous verse number 15 only, Prabhupada has clarified. Now he's mentioning beneath the human level, there are 8 million, 80 lakh species of life. And according to the development of the mode of ignorance, there are, and like for goodness also, there is a level. He will go to Satyaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Swarga, and any loka he can go, person in the mode of goodness. So similarly, person in the mode of ignorance, he will take birth in any animal species, depending on how much degree of ignorance he has developed. Depending on that, he will take birth. Tamasa is very significant here. Tamasa indicates those who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to the higher mode. They are not able to rise above the mode of ignorance. That's why their future is very dark. At the end, what Prabhupada is mentioning, there is an opportunity for men in the mode of ignorance and passion to be elevated to the mode of goodness, and that system is called Krishna consciousness. But one who doesn't take advantage of this opportunity will certainly continue to the lowest. So better to avoid this, one can practice the Krishna consciousness, because these modes are binding us to this material world. And if we want to go to the spiritual world, leaving this material world, then we have to practice Krishna consciousness. Till now, what Krishna has mentioned in this chapter. So Krishna first now regarding the conceptual flow, I will tell. First, Krishna mentions that how the living entity is bound. How living entity is bound in this material world.
Three modes of nature.
So first, this Krishna has mentioned, and then he gives the names also. What are the three modes? Sattva, Raja, and Tama. And after that, what Krishna mentioned? Characteristics of how these modes are binding. And how these modes are binding to living entity. And he has mentioned. Correct. Then he has mentioned the how activities of living entity. Activities of living entity in three different modes. In different modes, he has explained. Then what happened? What he has mentioned, death he has mentioned. Death in three modes. Then what he has mentioned after death, then results of his activities. Result of activities of three modes in what are the results? Intermediate results first he has mentioned. Then immediate results. And then last verse number 18, final result. This much knowledge Krishna has given till you. Then this is the knowledge regarding the modes. Now Krishna will tell from this verse number 19 to 27. And there are 27 verses in this chapter. 19 to 27. Krishna will mention how to transcend these modes. Main topic, and many subtopics are also there. So transcendental ideation. How to transcend. In these modes. Correct? So clear till now. Now Krishna is mentioning how to transcend these modes. First verse he mentioned in this regard. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyanti गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सो अधिगच्छति. So what is mentioning? When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Who will attain Krishna's nature? And now we'll see the translation. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work, then these nature. So before also, 13th chapter also, Krishna has mentioned who is the doer. Prakriti is the doer. He means what? Material nature. And material nature means three modes. So what Krishna has told here, that the actual seer, what he is seeing, who is the performer, doer of activity, is the modes of nature. Modes of nature means material nature, and means Prakriti. Prakriti is acting, and material nature is acting. Jiva and Lord, they are not acting, but we know they are also acting. And how Jiva desires and Lord sanctions, and material nature fulfills. That we know. But what is focus? Focus is on now Prakriti, material nature. So what Lord is telling, they know that three modes of material nature, they are doing the activity. And the person he knows the Lord. What he knows about Lord? Lord is above the three moons. Above three moons. Transcendental to all means is three moons. That person will attain the Swarupa of the Lord. He will attain the nature, Madbhavam. He will attain the Bhava of the Lord. Means he will attain also the transcendence. Clear? Translation is clear? See purport. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from the proper source. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature. So, how one can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature? Simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper source. So, from where we are learning? We are learning from the purports of Prabhupada and Acharyas. So that's why we are not just adding, not just we are sticking to the purports. And why we are sticking to the purports? Because just by understanding and all these things from proper sources, just by understanding from them, and what is going to happen? We can transcend the modes. And that's why. And just we are reading and understanding. Just by doing that, what is going to happen? We can transcend the modes. This is very important statement. A real spiritual master. Somebody can read this.
The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn his science of activity in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. By the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is entrapped, and how he is under the spell of material modes of nature. He is helpless, being big in the grip of these modes, but when he can see the real position, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. Actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He is forced to act because he is situated in a particular type of body, conducted by some particular modes of material nature. Unless one has the help of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide association yeah, association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see the real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material modes by nature. It has already been stated in the seventh chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases.
Thank you, bro. So what Prabhupada is explaining here, the real spiritual master is Krishna. He is imparting this spiritual knowledge. And therefore learn from otherwise what will happen? One will be misdirected. One will landed somewhere else. Proper knowledge he will not get. to know your real position. From whom Prabhupada is telling that from the how you are entrapped and how one is under the spell of the modes of nature. One is helpless being in the grip of modes of nature. This is the actual position. When one can see this actual position, and then we can transcend the modes. When we understand we are under the modes, and then only we will do something to transcend the modes. First, similarly, if we understand that if we are diseased, and then only we will try to for do some endeavor to come out of that disease. And so first we have to understand that we are under the modes and we are helpless. And we are forced to take the bodies. If we understand, how we can understand? With the help of spiritual authority. By learning from Prabhupada and Acharyas. And he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. Without them and without reading what they have written, we cannot understand. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position. With the help of them only we can understand. By such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. When after understanding, what will become? Will become Krishna conscious. And then man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of material modes. Why? Because Krishna consciousness is transcendental. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter. What is stated? 7th chapter. Daivi esha gunamai mama maya duratteya mameva prapadyante mayam tarantite. One can cross this material nature by surrendering to Krishna. Then Prabhupada is mentioning, for one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. So what is the actual vision? What is the actual seeing here? Krishna has mentioned that modes are doer, and whatever is doing is whatever activities are done by the persons, they are done by the 3 modes. And Krishna is above the 3 modes. Krishna is controlling the 3 modes. He is transcendental to the 3 modes. Then what will happen? We will attain the bhava of Krishna, Mad bhava. So this is one of the way a person can transcend the modes. After mentioning this, then so we can understand here like modes are the doers, and means modes are not like modes are what they are binding. And they are binding whom? They are binding
Jiva.
Jiva, living entity. Thank you, correct. Modes are binding living entities or jivas. And how they are binding? And here it is mentioned they are the what? They are the doers, performers. And how they are performing through jivas? Like there is what we say Katputli in English. Somebody knows?
Puppet.
Puppet.
Puppet. So the puppeteer, that puppeteer, how he controls, the living entities. In Bhagavad Gita also, you might have seen Prabhupada has given the picture, yeah, that puppet here, and it might, I will just show. Everybody has seen, but just to understand how the modes are acting. Happening. All of you might have seen. I'm not getting the first, not visible here. Oh, that how all of you might have seen on the page, and first page, that one puppeteer is controlling through the uh, strings, and that strings are called as uh, three strings, Sattva, Rajan, and Tama, to the living entities, different living entities is controlling. In all Bhagavad Gita, it is not there. Some Bhagavad Gita it is there, some it is not there. In this it is there. So the modes are acting like that. And they are binding like strings of puppet. And they are binding. And so this is the binding modes have. We can understand from this 19th verse. In this way, they are acting. '28 verse. And what verse is saying? Gunan etan ati tetrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukhe vimukto mritam ashnute. What Krishna is telling. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress. Can enjoy nectar even in this life. So when person transcends this mode, and what he will achieve? And he will achieve freedom from birth, death, old age, and distress. And he can have happiness. In goodness only he has happiness. But after transcending also, after transcending goodness, then he can enjoy the nectar in this life also, in current life also, if he has transcended and the three modes. How one can stay in the transcendental position even in this body in full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. So according to Prabhupada, so what this verse is explaining is how we can be in the transcendental position by transcending these modes. Somebody can read, everyone.
The Sanskrit word Dehi means embodied. Although one is within the material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is a sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service.
Thank you, Prabhu. So what Prabhupada is mentioning, the Sanskrit word Dehi means embodied, which Krishna has mentioned in this verse. Gunan etan atitrin dehi deha samudbhavam. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. Because what that means, he has developed the spiritual knowledge. Because of that, he is now on the transcendental level, and he has already transcended the three modes. He can enjoy happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to spiritual stuff. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. His devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from the material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. What Prabhupada is mentioning here in short, one is practicing devotional service, and one is doing bhakti, and what happens? One is above three modes, and one will achieve that happiness if he is doing properly the devotional service. And then he will be happy in this body also, which Krishna has mentioned. So, when Krishna has mentioned so many benefits of transcending modes, and in last verse, in the 19th verse, he has mentioned that person who has transcended the modes, he will attain his nature, Krishna's nature, Madbhavam. And what is that Madbhavam? That Amrutam Ashnute, that Madbhavam Krishna mentioned here. He can enjoy that nectar in this life of Krishna's bhav. That is Krishna's nature, and he enjoys happiness continuously. So Krishna has until now has completed how to transcend modes also. He has completed and by devotional service. And the person who knows that how Krishna is transcendental, and above these three modes, and that person can transcend the three modes. Krishna has told. But now Arjuna has some questions. Now Arjuna is asking question that Arjuna Uvacha Kairlinge Strin Gunan Etan Atito Bhavati Prabho Kim Acharah Katham Chetams Trin Gunan Ativartate. So what Arjuna is asking, oh my dear Lord, by which symptom is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? So how many questions Arjuna has asked? Three questions. And the first question is, by which symptom? And this is the by which symptom is one who is transcendental to these three modes? Then second question, what he has asked, what is his behavior? This is second question. Then third question, what he has asked is, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? This is the third question. These three questions Arjuna have. So what are the questions? By which symptom one is known? How is transcendental to these three modes? And what are the, in short, what are the symptoms of person who has transcended the three modes? And this is the first question. What are the symptoms? And what is his behavior? That is clear. And how does he transcend the modes? In detail, Arjuna wants to ask. So similar type of Krishna questions Arjuna has asked previously. Somebody remembers where Arjuna has asked this kind of question? Similar type.
Sthitapragya se kya bhasha?
Sthitapragya kya bhasha. Correct. Thank you. So, but similar theme, but different question. So similar way, Krishna also will give the answer in a different way. Like Arjuna has asked differently questions, and Krishna also gives answers differently in a particular way. So what answers Krishna gives? Before that, purport we'll see what Prabhupada is mentioning. Somebody can read.
In this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material mode. He first inquires of the symptoms of such a transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of the modes of material nature? The second question asks how he lives and what his activities are. Are they regulated or non-regulated? Then Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important and the Lord answers them.
Thank you. So, so what Prabhupada is telling, first line he's mentioning that Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. So why they are very appropriate? Because what happens that if we hear from somebody like the children, the many elderly people, they tell to children that this if you become like this and in future when you grow and you become like this and immediately what questions children will ask, how to become like this and how to become doctor, engineer and IAS officer, they will ask. That is very appropriate. So similarly Arjuna is asking how to transcend this mode. So after hearing so much about these modes, and Arjuna wanted to transcend this mode. So he is asking. That's why Prabhupada is telling it is very appropriate. And he wants to know the symptom of a person, or the person who has transcended these modes, and also so that how his activities are. So from within, his symptoms means what are his thoughts within, and activities which we can see outside. So how he behaves inside and outside, and how to transcend these three questions Arjuna has asked. So now Krishna will answer one by one. So now four verses are combined here. So Krishna is giving answer to two questions in these four verses. So in first 22nd and 23rd verse, he gives answer to first question. What is the first question? Are the symptoms of one who has transcended the most. 14 and 15, he gives answer to second question. What is the second question? Is the activities outside, how he acts who has transcended. So we'll recite first two verses only. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava na dveshti sama pravruttani na nivruttani kamshati udasina vadasino guneryo na vichalyate गुणावर्तन्त इति एवं यो वतिष्ठति नेङ्गते. So what is the translation? First two verses, Krishna is telling the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, Arjuna, he who doesn't hate illumination, he who doesn't hate illumination, attachment, and delusion, when they are present or long or then when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active. Modes alone are active. They are only the performer, which Krishna has told previously. So these are his symptoms. And so what Krishna has taken, he has taken one prominent thing from all the modes. And so illumination is from goodness. Attachment is from passion. And delusion is from ignorance. And Krishna is telling, he who doesn't, and that person who has transcended, and he doesn't hate or long for when they disappear. And when they are present, that he doesn't hate. When these symptoms are present, then he doesn't hate. Saint, and then he doesn't long for it. Then who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material quality. So he is not disturbed. That is second thing. This is first. Second thing is not disturbed in this material world. When he is in three modes, he is not disturbed. through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active. And he is neutral, and because he has transcended the modes, and he is understanding that modes are acting, and which Krishna has mentioned in 19th verse. That symptom is visible here. So this is translation. So this is answer to Arjuna's first question. Then second part, what are his characteristics and his activities? That it is mentioned by Krishna. Krishna is giving answer. So happiness and distress. He is equipoised in happiness and distress, and he looks lump of earth and stone as a piece of gold with an equal eye. He is equal. Who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable. He is he is in the equilibrium, and like Sthita Prajna. He is also someone who is steady and Sthita, who is situated equally well in praise and blame, and Ninda and Stuti, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcendental to the modes of nature. In short, what is his activity? He is equipoised in all dualities. In all dualities, what he is acting equipoised. And why he is acting equipoised? Because dualities are arising from what? Dualities are present in this world, and because of why dualities are present?
Hare Krishna. Rag and because of Rag and Dvesh.
Rag and Dvesh is where it is in living entity, na? Correct. But dualities are where they are in the world, no? Material world. Correct. So they are in the material world, means they are arising from where? Material nature. And material nature means another name for material nature is three modes. Three modes also coming from material nature. And so because of these three modes, these dualities are coming. Correct? And the person has transcended the three modes. Correct? He's above the three modes. Three modes are here. And this person is above. That's why he is not affected by the dualities. So his activities are above the three modes. He is not affected by, and because he is above the dualities. And that's why he is not affected by the dualities. This is answer to Arjuna's second question. And then his symptoms are clear. Yeah. Illusion, attachment, delusion, that already we have discussed. And then is neutral, that you can understand. Then undesirable, desirable, that is okay. Praise and blame, honor and dishonor, and that is okay. And praise and blame, that all things you can understand. Praise, blame, honor, dishonor. And so one may have praise and blame, and honor and dishonor. They appear similar, and there is one pair, that praise and blame, and honor, dishonor. And it appears similar, but there is difference which acharyas are telling. They are telling praise and blame, and who praises the person and some other person and somebody outside, and how he praises or blames by word, and how other person give honor or dishonor is by his mind or body, and how we give honor to somebody and by offering obeisances, and or we can offer honor in our mind also to somebody else, and dishonor also by not offering obeisances and by not greeting them, and we can express dishonor. And by words we can praise or blame. So this is the difference which acharyas they have mentioned between mind and body. Sorry, praise and blame and honor and dishonor. So this is the answer which Arjuna has given. So we'll discuss purport next time, and we'll stop here. Somebody has any question, they can ask.